It's mad black officers that whoop young men ass. It's just not just a black. I feel you, but it's not just a black white thing.
But
It's mad.
Ice Cube most memorable line in the song NWA song "F the Police" is
Right.
black police showing out for the white cop. Again, it goes back to conditioning. There are many, for example, we know in the same context, not all Zionists are Jews, and not all Jews are Zionists. Not all anti black racists are white people, or other than there are unconscious anti black thinking black folks. And
I hate
do,
Whoopi Goldberg lips.
they do,
I hate the black keys on the piano. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm just
right.
doing the.
They, and they value
You
or
just
devalue black life in the same manner as per, again, the thought process. Again, similar to black doll, white doll experiment. We don't see the same we don't see the good, we don't see the good doll as the black doll.
right.
There's been so many experiments, even the other experiment with regards to teachers. They had little kids, actors, black boy, black girl, white boy, white girl. Teachers, they did an experiment. Look it up, folks.
No,
With
I know what you're
teachers
talking about.
looking at these little kids and identifying poor behavior.
Negative attributes.
But
Yep.
the, but the but the but the but the study was really focused on the teacher's eyes and where the eyes were focused
Right.
on.
Right.
All the teachers' eyes were focused on the black boys, looking for anything and expecting the black boy. And again, they were all actors and they all pointed to that. Again, conditioning. We're conditioned to expect everything negative black, and especially with black boys, black men. So just like, and I mentioned Tamir Rice for a reason. He was a little boy playing in a park with a toy weapon. The police officer, much like this one, he just says gun and starts shooting at the same time. With the Tamir Rice case, the car didn't even come to a full stop. The police officer shooting out the window to kill little 12-year-old Tamir Rice. So we don't get we don't get the warning shot. We don't get the warning verbiage. We don't get the opportunity to give up in
Well,
most of these cases.
we gotta put
So,
this in.
so
Anyone would disagree with what you're saying, Ian. And I think what we're all saying, we're all agreeing. We know the status of black people in America, especially when it comes to law enforcement. I think what Osu was getting at, there are two situations that happened. The situation with a young man who had the gun, dropped the gun, or whatever. The police shot and killed him. That's a situation to be looked at. The dad, upset, angry, runs over a random police officer. Both situations are just not great, right? Very bad, very sad. Did that white man, that white police officer who on his way to retirement, somebody's daddy, uncle, husband, whatever, did he deserve to be killed? No. Do we understand what that father was feeling and why he did it? Yes. Does it make it right? Unfortunately, it doesn't. It doesn't. And we understand that hurt, that pain that he felt, the centuries of hurt and pain that we all feel being black in America. But it wasn't right. The same way the officer that shot the boy is still up for debate. Now we know this job is a difficult job, and we know that when you see a black face, there's already a heightened level of fear, a heightened level of threat, or emergency. And maybe he dropped the gun, maybe he didn't have the gun, who knows. But two situations, and they're both wrong. As far as with the dad, it was wrong. He shouldn't have did it, whether he uh, blacked out too soon, too early, whatever. It wasn't right. It wasn't justified. I'd like to think that they consider, man, he'd be able to defend himself, say I crashed out, I wasn't in the right state of mind. But in that sense, you went and you reacted emotionally, and it's unfortunate,
now,
and things like this happen in our community. Now the revenge part, we don't get to see that too often, right? And I think the white community they're shooketh, right? Oh my gosh, and they have to really show this man as an
how
example.
many
I would have to
instances?
say that he's not even safe in prison.
Well, the thing
How
is
many
that
instances did the wrong black person get arrested and wrong black person get shot? And sorry, this is a tough job. We made a mistake. How many times have those things happened? Whether
I
the person was in
I,
their own house, whether they
I
had a
appreciate that.
no-knock warrant in the wrong house, whether they picked up the wrong person because they fit the description. There's been plenty of those type of instances. So yes, this
That's too
situation
broad
is
of an
wrong,
argument, though.
but they always excuse it when they do it.
Well,
And
okay,
I'm
so
saying what I'm not going to not excuse this black man's behavior in the same manner they don't excuse their officers' behavior against black folks.
we're
They
talking about
always
cops.
excuse it.
We're talking about cops. Or we're talking about white folks.
Well, in particular, cops, but I mean, Zimmerman's got excuse.
Well, you're making. I look. I agree with you, but I agree with you to an extent. I think that it's a broad argument, and I understand that perspective because a lot of people who have that perspective, and that's what's so beautiful about these conversations. So there are some people who are going to look at it through a perspective of the broader white black perspective, and then there's some people going to look at it through the lens of police officer civilian, and then there's some people who are going to say, okay, this is just this particular incident. So I guess my thing is that so statistically, right? So we got to put it in context too. I do agree. I agree. I've lived it, and most of us have lived it. I think that police are surely more harsh when it comes to black men. And there are so many cases as far as wrongful convictions, just being. I mean, we can go on all day about brothers sitting in jail for life for the wrong situations, the wrong things. But it's not that white people and other people don't get killed by the police too, because that's the truth too. We got to make sure we put that in context. It's not that black people are killed more than anybody else. Statistically, it's not even true, right? So many white people or other races of people are shot by the police every year as well too in situations. So um,
How many of them unarmed by comparison to black? Because I
unarmed.
looked up just those stats that you're referring to. The majority of white people who were shot unarmed, white people who were shot by comparison to unarmed black people, is not even close percentage wise. Numerically,
Well,
we have to remember if we're 13.5% of the total population, it shouldn't be close at all. But the fact that it is, it tells you something.
that's. Now, I don't want to look like I'm on the other side of this argument, but I want to put all the information out there, right? So whether they're unarmed or not, that I haven't necessarily seen. I just seen people who are shot by the police in incidents. So that statistic, black people are not the higher of that statistic. My thing is that I go back to the crash out, and I understand everybody's perspective. My thing is that if you're the dad and you're going to crash out, you're going to be totally emotional. Now, if he's going to carry it, I mean, the injustices of black people, yes, we have way more injustices than anyone else. So you can carry, 400, 500 years of injustice, whether we want to go back to slavery and everything that's happened since then, there's plenty of it. But you gotta decide to me specifically, okay, what am I crashing out for? Why am I crashing out? I would prefer if he had tried to figure out what happened first to find out what happened with his son. We still don't know if his son pointed a gun. So I don't from what I saw so far, I don't think so. But what happens if it comes out later and it shows the son did point a gun? So what do we say? Do we say, well, all the injustices that happened in the past, it don't matter. He should be able, you know what I'm saying? We should give him a pass. So if the shooting, let's just say hypothetically, the shooting is justified. Now you killed somebody for no reason. So I would have rather him crash out on the cop if he was going to crash out on the cop, you know, or just to your point, and if you want to make it to a broader context, I would have preferred Trayvon Martin's dad to crash out, Tamir Rice's dad to crash out. I would have preferred those crash outs. I don't see anybody crashing out for Tyree Nichols, and nobody probably will because my thing is we have a kind of a cognitive dissonance. I feel like as black people, I think we're looking to include everything into the same narrative, and I think there's a place for it. But at the same time, when something happens, when certain things happen that are purely wrong, like a Tamir Rice, nobody's doing nothing. I don't see no parents crashing out on that. So
Well,
that's the
that's
only
the
thing.
part for me. Again, I'm going to stay, and folks will define me as radical by comparison. I'll take that banner. I'll carry that flag proudly, and I can easily tie in what you're talking about. Statistically, the more crimes, this, that, and the other, and black folks, I can tie that in easily by giving examples. One, I can tie in. It's an easy connected dot from the study that they did with the kids, the little kids, I who and the teachers,
Sure.
and unsubconsciously, unconsciously eyeballed the black boy. I
Hmm.
can connect that dot to the stop and frisk campaign that they had in New York City, where
Sure.
they mainly solely focused on black and brown communities. So if the arrests are mostly black and brown folks,
Sure.
because that's where you went to focus your attention on,
Right.
similar to what they started. Again, these patterns are not connected at all. There's a full connection. We're conditioned to look at black folks in a certain way from the regardless of their age, whether they're Tamir Rice's age, whether they're 5 year olds and sitting in a classroom, whether they're walking down the street, we're conditioned to look at a certain segment group of folks for activity, and we'll stop and frisk if it's four white kids in the car versus four black kids in the car. The four black kids look suspicious for whatever reason.
Hmm.
We need to pull them
Hmm.
over. They might have
Right.
had weed in the car. They might have had something in the car.
Right.
But you only found that out because you stopped them because in your mind they look suspicious.
Sure.
So
Sure.
we've already known, and there's been data to support, it's not that black people do drugs more than white folks or this and the other, but if you're only focused on a certain segment of the group, that's where you're going to catch most. So